Hello and welcome to Last Week in Finance. Today is October 17th of 2020. Let's get right to the numbers. The S&P 500 when is kind of flat this week. Plus 0.19%. Right now the S&P 500 is at 3,483 points. So, practically was a push this week. Gold prices went down this week 1.6%. Right now, the ounce of gold is below the 1900 mark, especially is right now in $1,899 for an ounce of gold. Silver went even further down this week, almost 4%. Right now, an ounce of silver is $24.17. The DXY, the US dollar index, went up this week 0.71%. Right now, it's at 93.72 points. Bitcoin had some movement this week, but right now is stable regarding last week. Is at $11,377 per Bitcoin. Okay, the topic of this week will be the future of airlines. First, let's get to the numbers, and this won't be pretty. Let's start with American Airlines. Right now, the stock price of American Airlines is $12.39. It was in a year low of $8. That was brutal. And this year it's been lagged down 56%. Wow. United Airlines. Right now the stock price is at $34. It had a year low of $17 and right now this year has lost 61%. So even uglier. Delta. Delta, the favorite airlines of many people. Right now, the stock price is at 31% low of this year of 17 and has lost this year 46%. And Southwest Airlines is at 39%, $39 per stock, a year low of $22 per stock, and it had been lagged down 26% this year, so not that bad regarding. Okay, what will be the future of airline? Okay, first of all, let's let's analyze what the airlines are like they are. First, airlines are a capital intensive business. You need, the planes, the crew, the pilots, the the people on the ground, administration, marketing, finance, lawyers, logistics, you name it. Running an airline business is very, very, very expensive. Okay, no surprise over there. The thing is, first, they took a hit on 9/11, very understood. Then, they took a even further hit and to wait after the great financial crisis. They get bailouts, of course, and they pay their bailouts, okay. And then, like most companies that receive bailouts, when things were good, the good times, this 12-year bull market, instead of saving, doing research and development, instead of having, the rainy day fund, what they do, you guessed it, buybacks. They bought their own stock again. instead of having a rainy day fund. In order to create artificial demand for the company, for the stock, and having bigger share of the equity of the company. Okay, now they were operating in a operating margin, very low. Airlines had very low operative margins. Okay, but here's the thing, and that's what things are good. You didn't save anything because you do the buybacks, and right now you are asking again to get a bailout from the government. And come on, that's that's not cool. Why you didn't, just had the rainy day fund? You didn't. I mean, at least in some percentage of what you need right now. And of course, COVID-19. This is not airlines' fault. This is China's fault. Okay, but whatever. We have to deal with this thing. Right now, airlines are operating at 10% of their capacity. Of course, they've been took a great hit with this COVID-19 crisis. Not only because COVID himself, it's because okay, some people still are afraid to flying, and mostly for international flights. Many countries, I'm sorry, have restrictions to flying to receiving passengers of foreign countries. And right now, a lot of visas regulations. You can, if you're from some country, you can go to Europe, and you can go to Asia, and you can go to Latin America, and you name it, you name it, you name it. A lot of extensions. That's not Pierden's fault. That's bureaucracy fault, like most of the time. Okay, here's the thing. Companies are furloughing on their or just flat out firing people. And the people who still are on the payroll are being taken as hostages for the company, saying, and not just airlines, many companies are doing this. They're saying to the federal government, hey, give us the PPP loans, give us the bailouts, because we will have to fire a lot of more people. Okay, this is with the right now. This is the situation with the bureaucracy BS that we don't we don't like, but we have to keep up with. Okay, what will be the future? Remember that most of the flying, most of the air travel is done by tourists. Tourism and other major industry that took a hit with the COVID-19 crisis. It's a discretionary expense. I mean, you don't need to travel. You don't need to do tourism. You do that because when you have like a cushion of cash to, get to know the world, or you're doing great, you have a good job, a steady income, or you're doing good with your business, etc., etc., etc. By the other hand, you have the business travel. Then in the US, it's most important for revenue to business travel instead of Europe and Asia, where in Europe is mostly they're mostly dependent on tourism instead of business travel. In Asia is relatively flat. The supply and demand for travel all year. In Europe is seasonal, and it's way aggressive when it's low season because they depend most on tourism. In the US, it's still cyclical, high season, low season, not as much as Europe because you have the business travel. And here's another thing. right now with telecommuting, with working from home, the budgets that most companies spend on their employees, discretionary spending for the employees, benefits and such, having pizza days in office. Right now, what management of big or medium and big companies are seeing right now is that these travel expenses are way, way, way down, and they say, let's keep it up with that after COVID. Let's spend less on travel budget for the executive or the employees and do most of the stuff remote using Zoom and such. Okay, that will be a major hit for air travel, at least for the airlines, of course. But still, people want to fly. People after COVID and the crisis after COVID, because that's another thing, still, get to the quote unquote new normal, people still will want to travel. And business, many business will remain physically, require physical presence. I mean, you have to close the deals. Most deals you will be closed in person. Maybe, the preliminary stuff will be, using Zoom, using teleconference and such, but the big deals will be closed in person. Okay, having said that, after, all these few years, will be a few rough years, we'll have our demand again and we'll have our supply, of course. Airline companies will have an additional expense on sanitation and airplane cleaning. They need especially special devices, special procedures, maybe outsourcing people or companies specialized just in antibacterial cleaning, very thorough cleaning against bacteria and viruses and such. By the other hand, and this is the good news, there is a lot of research and development of the airplane manufacturers, Boeing, Airbus, and a lot of the big little guys. They're researching on planes that are more efficient with, with the jet fuel, which is a very important expense on the air travel business. And they are developed right now long haul planes. They're very small, very efficient, had a lot of autonomy, and you can operate these huge 10, 15-hour flights with small planes, which is great news for the airlines in normal times. And what will be the future? We will have international flights from regional airports that will create more supply of travel, and also it will bring more demand from this new travel, and that most of the time could be affordable. And when people, get their team together, pay their bills, pay the mortgages, whatever, still wanna go to travel. On the so I'm gonna summarize with this: future of travel. Right now is on the gutter. Short-term future, it will be shitty. But long term, I mean, I'm talking about maybe 3, 5 years, will be okay. I hope, and it will be better than it used to. So that will be all for this week. Take care. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.